Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. Welcome to our Path of a Magdalena program. Each month through this program, we explore a different quality of Mary Magdalena with different Magdalena practitioners, and we share about how this quality lives in our lives and how we're cultivating it, how we're playing with it. And this month, we are looking at the quality of dignity. And so as part of this program, we send out an interview with the assistant program director, Diane Brenneman, and some of our Magdalena practitioners on a specific quality. We have this Facebook Live. There are also journal questions to consider throughout the month to really be thinking about and diving into this quality. And then we also have some really great content on social media. And I just happen to know that the content for this month is really spectacular. I know Dale and Lisa, who are with us today, put together some of that content. So really watch out for that, especially this month and in the months to come. So today we are going to have this live discussion. You may be watching it live, you may be watching the replay on dignity. So I'd like to introduce the other Magdalena practitioners that I have here with me. I have Dale and Dave Miller. I think both joining us from the East Coast. Is that right? The East Coast of the US? Yeah, okay, great. And then I have Lisa Guinan, the master of all Magdalena qualities. For anybody that's been watching, Lisa has been on every month. Well, I think that's probably 14 months at this point in time. And Lisa's just been diving in. She dives into all the qualities every month. So Lisa is here with me, and my name is Kara, joining today from an early morning in Hawaii. And so, look, I think this quality of dignity, it's actually a very special one for me. So I'd like to start by asking, or just kind of discussing with you all, with our panelists here, like, what is dignity? Like, can you share a little bit about what that quality is?
I can start.
Great.
I feel that dignity is a basic self-respect that we all come in with. And it's being in alignment with who I am and also honoring who you are without judgment, and being okay and empathetic with each other, with myself. And it's just who we are as human beings. We come in with dignity, and we can maintain that self-respect, that caring, that love, that empathy for myself and others, for just the way we are.
Yeah, I think it's really a fundamental human right that we can nurture and bring forward and honor ourselves for who we are. There's a real honoring aspect to it.
Yeah, I have to say, before, what I've noticed from, when I'm previewing some of the Facebook Lives to send them out an email, and I often see myself, and I'm honest, and I'm like this with my, I love this position when I'm at my computer, because I can rest my arms on here and I can lean forward. It's going, oh, there I go, leaning forward again. And I was so aware today that, like, I can't do this for dignity. It just wouldn't be right, I've got to sit up straight. And I went and I changed what I was wearing because I just wanted something a bit more dignified. And it's that whole thing when I tune into the energy, it's like, how do I hold myself in a quality of dignity? Straight away, I could feel I just want to sit up straight and be in, I don't want to be stooped over. I want to be vertical. And how do I speak? I mean, even how I'm speaking now, when I'm tuning into dignity, I feel that my words are coming out in a certain way. So it's like, it's all of those things. How would I behave with another, having that respect for the other, but also this really honoring, like you said, Dale, of myself, really honoring me as I'm speaking with another. So yes, interesting quality.
And for those that are watching, feel free to share in the comments, like one word or maybe at the most 3 words, like, what is it like to embody dignity? I think Lisa was really speaking about that quality of embodying how you carry yourself, how you dress, the words you use, the way in which you speak. How is it to embody dignity? And is there a specific person or that embodies dignity? Like, is there an example for you when you see this person or hear them speak or watch them carry themselves, who you think, wow, that's dignity?
So for me, I thought of several people. Mother Teresa, I think, because she so honored the dignity of everyone, and we know the example of her going into the streets and honoring the dignity of the person as they were leaving their life here. And just the care and the tenderness and giving them that dignity at the last minute that no one else was providing for people. I also think of Maya Angelou, because somehow to me, I've heard her speak in person a couple of times, and she was just had such dignity about her. And I also think about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the dignity that she showed from the court in her life. And Mary Magdalene, of course, Mary Magdalene just had such dignity, such knowingness about herself, and how she carried herself in that time. I'm sure we'll come back to more about Mary Magdalene.
Yeah, I think oh, go ahead, Lisa.
I was just going to say, when I think of people who I look at them and I can see they really embody it, it'd be like royalty, royal families. But then when I think of like someone like Nelson Mandela, who really stood for people's equality and for the dignity of everyone, but I really see that he embodied really that quality in his actions that he took throughout his life.
And one thing I'd like to add here is for many of the people that have mentioned, at least in their earlier years, the world did not always identify them as dignity. The world did not always reflect that back, like Nelson Mandela, Maya Angelou. The world was not always thinking, wow, there's really something there. The world was actually reflecting something very different back to these individuals. But it was these individuals holding that quality within themselves. So I think for me, that's a really important part of dignity. The world isn't always going, at least at this time in 2023, going to reflect that back to me. But it is something that I have to hold and believe as true for myself through difficult times. And then, at some point, we do see it reflected back, at least in most of the people we just discussed. But there is, and I think this was said in the video, a power and a grace and a strength in knowing that dignity as yourself before the world sees that dignity in you.
Such a great point, Cara. Sorry, Dave, for just said that's such a good point, that we really do have to find it inside of ourselves, don't we? Such a great point.
There's often a price to pay. And I think that's what we've seen in history, even with Mary Magdalena, that where the world is not reflected back, and there's a different reflection coming back, if you will. However, that's if we maintain that for ourselves, that's the self-respect. That's the empowerment. There's a real empowerment in that, I believe, and it's my experience.
Does anyone have an example of a time where they really, like, maybe we could make this real, like where either you embodied that quality of dignity or you reflected that back to someone else? And what impact did that have?
Well, an example I can think of is I was trained in a diversity, equity, and inclusion model through the National Coalition Building Institute. And there was a exercise in some of the work that we did where you would bring someone up who had experienced oppression or had been mistreated in some way. So for women, you know, how they had been put down or whatever. And you would bring them up front and they would work in confronting whoever had put that on them, who had disrespected them. And one of the phrases that would be used was, how dare you? How dare you do this to me? How dare you mistreat me this way? And it was so powerful. And what I found after, towards the closing, is as each person that might come up and do it around racism, around religious issues, around sexuality and gender, and elder, you know, elders and youth and so on, that as we came together towards the end, it really helped people regain their dignity and see that in each other and the community that was built through that. You know, it was like, we're really more one, you know, we really have more in common. We're not so separate at this point. So it was a real community builder, see the real change for people and recognizing that dignity in each other.
Yeah, that's a great example, Dale. And so I have something for everyone to think about. So I think Dale alluded to this. But I want you to think of a time in your life where someone took your dignity or didn't see that dignity that is inherent in you. Like Dale gave examples, you know, of women or different kind of generalized topics. But I wonder if anybody here has something to share on that. Who took your dignity? Could you share an example?
I can just share just something very simple, Cara. It's just very recent. It's in a very small way. But I was walking my dog along, you know, headland. I live near the coast, and I was throwing his ball. And this only a couple of weeks ago, there was like a couple, you know, a bit of distance in front of me. So as I was walking, I was throwing his ball that way. And anyway, I went to throw it, and my arm just kind of lost the thing of my arm, and the ball landed pretty close to this lady in front of me. Maybe, I don't know, it's like, it was a bit too close for comfort. So straight away, I was, oh my God, no. And I was saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she turned around and I could see they were triggered. And I could see that she wasn't accepting my apology. So then I went in to explain what had happened, that I was throwing it here and I, you know, lost control of my arm. And anyway, she said something to her husband and I could see that they didn't believe me. And in that moment, I just felt so, you know, I knew I was being judged. And I just felt so like I started to slow down. I was going to hang back with my dog and just disappear under a rock somewhere so no one could see me. And I could feel all this shame of like, I even started thinking, maybe I did somehow mean it. I started doubting myself that it was a mistake. And I was pulling back and I could feel the shame inside of me. And I had taken on the judgment and the shame. And something inside me went, no, stop it. You know, that I made a mistake. Okay, maybe I could have been a bit more careful, but, you know, I did make a mistake. I apologized. They don't accept my apology. That's their choice. They're triggered. Maybe it's just hard for them to accept it right now. And that's okay for them not to accept it. But for me not to take on the judgment and the shame, not to take that reality on for myself. So I came out and I thought, I'm going to continue walking along the headland. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to be in shame. I'm going to allow them to have their judgment, but I'm going to give back their judgment from me to them. and stay in my reality, which is it was a mistake. And I apologized, and I accept that they haven't accepted my apology. And I continued to walk and held my head up high.
Mhm.
And it felt so good inside of me just to do that. I felt it was important for me to do that. I could feel a sense of dignity in that moment.
Mm. And I like to just jump in and share a little bit more about some of the topics Lisa spoke about. So in I just want to share everything is energy. So emotions are energy. So when there's an emotional exchange, or when even there's just a regular exchange, there can be an energetic exchange. And so that's what Lisa was sharing about. What Lisa did is she didn't allow the energetic exchange. So let's say, because she said, no, I'm giving you back this shame and judgment. So in Magdalena Healing, we have a practice, it's called give back, take back. And if there was an energetic exchange that occurred at some point in your life where, let's say, you gave away your dignity to someone and you took on shame and judgment, we have tools where you give back what you took on, and then you take back what was yours. So in this situation, Lisa was giving back judgment and shame and taking, or really owning, her dignity. So if you are interested in learning more about some of those tools, we have different programs at Magdalena Healing where we teach them. Our program director, Mary Seiss, is really masterful, and these are specific tools that we've learned from Her Holiness Saima, who is an energetic master on the planet. But yeah, and if you want to try that this month, you just play around with it. So if you feel an energy that's not yours from a specific exchange, practice giving it back, just like Lisa did, and taking back what is yours. To my panelists, does that make sense, do you think, to the people watching? Is there anything you'd add? No?
I would just add that it's a very powerful tool to reclaim
Mhm.
what is yours, and to give back things that people are trying to put on you, and not take them in and not keep them. And so it goes back to that dignity is inherent in us, and really honor that, honor yourself in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that more. We only have 2 minutes. So I just take this as an introduction to give back, take back, and something that we dive much further into at Magdalena Healing. So we only have 2 more minutes. So I'd like to finish by just touching on how to cultivate dignity. So I'm sure some people are watching and they're on board for dignity, but this may be a very new quality for some people, or it could be something that people are thinking about more. How can we really begin to cultivate this quality in our lives over the next month, year, lifetime?
I would start with loving yourself. Acknowledge who I am, who we are as an individual, and start with that, and just using the give back, take back. If you find something that doesn't fit, give it back and take back your innocence, take back your love.
I think I want to bring to light one of the journal questions, and thinking about how much time do I spend honoring myself versus being in doubt or attempting to please others all the time, and really look at that and see where it might be unbalanced to bringing in doubt and always wanting to please others, rather than really honoring who I am and bringing that forward and stepping it out. I think when you honor the dignity, when I honor my dignity, I'm more willing to step out and be who I am, and to be of service, to others. It allows me to really have that sense of I have something to offer in the world. And I don't need to doubt that, and I don't need to be there to please other people. I can bring forth my unique gifts. And I think part of that might then also be identifying what those gifts might be, what the qualities within me that need to be out there. So I think one way of cultivating is looking at those qualities and
Yeah, you know, I'm just thinking about it now, and I think I'm going to use this as a practice now for the next few weeks of like every time I either feel I'm being judged, whether I am or not, that thinking or feeling that I am, or if I'm judging myself, because they're really the same thing, I think. Any of those times, I'm going to just really step in and find that dignity inside of myself. I think it's a great one to like really tap into when I'm feeling judged.
Yeah. And so I'm going to, this was an example given by Lucinda in the interview with Diane Brenneman on this topic. She shared every night before bed, write down 3 qualities you admire in yourself, or 3 qualities you're aware of in yourself. And then when you wake up, write down 3 qualities you love about yourself. I think that's a really clear way to start acknowledging yourself and the qualities that you hold. So I want to say one more thing about Give Back, Take Back, because I don't think this conversation is complete on it. If you're interested in learning more, let us know in the comments below. Let us know, share about that. And like, as you're practicing this week, I don't want it to be, or this month, I don't want it to be a mental activity. Use your hands. Like for Lisa's example, like take that judgment in your hands. I give you back your judgment, and then take back your dignity. And also let's pair that with what Dale said. Like, how dare you? If there's some words that need to be said, say that words. Share something. If this was a really deep experience where your dignity was given away, and then so share some words, and then use your hands and energetically give back what's not yours and take what is yours. Own your dignity. Practice that this month. Let us know if you want to learn more about Give Back, Take Back, and also just continue to follow us throughout this month on this journey of dignity. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next month. Bye.